These are the three crocodiles that made the T-Rex tremble in prehistoric times. These crocodiles were so vast, so heavily armored, and so powerfully armed that even the most feared predators, the giant theropods of the land, avoided the water. The true ruler of the primeval world feared no claw. It feared only the depth of its own hunting ground. Number 3. Deinosuchus. We start with the most terrifying and brutal of the giants, a predator whose very existence forced the mighty tyrannosaurs to constantly look over their shoulder. We are 82 million years in the past, in the swampy estuaries and coastal plains of what is now North America. This is the world of the Deinosuchus. Its name is a concise warning, the terrible crocodile. If Tyrannosaurus rex was the king of the land, Deinosuchus was the executioner of the water. This was the one place on Earth where a giant land dinosaur had to stop, hesitate, and often retreat. Deinosuchus was not simply a threat. It was a physical law enforced by bone, muscle, and a jaw that could crush reality. The reason Deinosuchus is so central to understanding prehistoric terror is its direct, brutal rivalry with the giant theropods of its era. This predator dominated the coastal channels, river mouths, and brackish marshes of the late Cretaceous, sharing its world with creatures like Albertosaurus, Daspletosaurus, and large hadrosaurs. Evidence unearthed in Texas, Montana, and Georgia paints a consistent picture. Deinosuchus was an ambush specialist that preyed on dinosaurs. Scientists have found massive, distinctive bite marks, perfectly matching the teeth and jaw structure of Deinosuchus, etched into the bones of large terrestrial dinosaurs, including fully grown hadrosaurs and even juvenile or subadult tyrannosaurids. In this ecosystem, every other creature fled the tyrannosaur lineage. Deinosuchus was the one predator that waited for them. It represented the one natural hazard the land giants could not conquer, the invisible, crushing force of the water. While Deinosuchus reached lengths comparable to Sarcosuchus, its true horror lay in its density and robustness. This was not an elongated fish-eater. It was a mobile, armored siege machine. Estimates placed Deinosuchus at lengths of 10 to 12 meters, or 33 to 39 feet, making it roughly the size of a modern sperm whale. Its body was thick, muscular, and heavily armored. Weight estimates conservatively place this creature at around 8 metric tons, a solid, devastating mass capable of overpowering even large dinosaurs. The ultimate weapon of Deinosuchus was its skull. It was shorter, wider, and far more reinforced than the slender snout of Sarcosuchus. This morphology was built for one thing, applying devastating pressure to shatter hard targets. Paleontologist Gregory Erickson and his team conducted groundbreaking research into the bite force of this creature, and the results are astonishing. Modern saltwater crocodiles possess a bite force of roughly 3,700 pounds per square inch. The apex predator of the land, Tyrannosaurus rex, was estimated to generate around 12,000 pounds per square inch. Deinosuchus was estimated to have a bite force up to 23,000 pounds per square inch, or 103 kilonewtons. This means Deinosuchus possessed a jaw with nearly twice the crushing power of its most feared terrestrial rival. This level of force was enough not just to hold prey, but to annihilate it. Its thick, blunt, conical teeth were ideally suited to penetrating the thick armor of dinosaurs and the tough shells of the giant sea turtles that also formed part of its diet. When Deinosuchus attacked, the victim was not merely killed, its structure was fundamentally compromised. The hunting strategy of Deinosuchus was the embodiment of terror and efficiency. First, immobility and camouflage. It lay submerged in the murky river mouths, often in the transition zone between fresh and salt water, with its eyes just above the surface, blending seamlessly with floating tidal debris. Second, the ambush. When a large dinosaur, a juvenile Tyrannosaurus rex or a large hadrosaur, approached the bank to drink, Deinosuchus exploded out of the water in a violent burst of speed and power. Third, the death grip. The target was typically an ankle, a limb, or the throat. Once gripped, the sheer weight of the Deinosuchus ensured the prey was dragged back into the water, a habitat where the dinosaur was instantly helpless. Fourth, the death roll. The signature maneuver of all great crocodilians, the death roll, was particularly devastating for Deinosuchus. An 8-metric-ton creature violently rotating in the water could tear apart the limb or body of its prey with brutal surgical precision, drowning it in the process. Deinosuchus was a constant threat on a geological scale. It was the reason the dinosaurs of the late Cretaceous understood that the greatest dangers do not fall from the sky or emerge from a forest, but rise silently from the depths. It was the terrible, unshakable truth that even in an age of giants, the river always had the last word. Number 2. Sarcosuchus Imperator. We rewind millions of years, traveling back to the early Cretaceous period, roughly 110 million years ago. We move from the brutal estuaries of North America to the vast, sprawling river systems and flooded plains of the supercontinent Gondwana, in what is now modern Africa and South America. This is the domain of the first of the true giants, Sarcosuchus Imperator, known simply as the SuperCroc. The name itself, meaning flesh crocodile emperor, speaks to its absolute mastery of its habitat. Fossils most famously discovered in the Gadafawa Formation in Niger, Africa, revealed a creature so massive it defied the boundaries between what was considered a reptile and what was a fully evolved predatory force of nature. Sarcosuchus was one of the largest crocodilians ever to exist, rivaling Deinosuchus in length, yet possessing a completely different evolutionary philosophy, one of armored specialization and highly refined sensory hunting. Sarcosuchus reached an astonishing length of 9 to 12 meters or 30 to 40 feet. Such a long creature was comparable to a large bus and dwarfed every modern crocodile on the planet. Conservative estimates place its mass between 8 and 10 metric tons. This immense size was necessary in an ecosystem shared with monstrous herbivorous dinosaurs like Nigersaurus and large theropods like Suchomimus, which also hunted in the water. If Deinosuchus relied on brute mass and crushing power, Sarcosuchus relied on armor. Its defense system was legendary. Like modern crocodilians, Sarcosuchus was protected by osteoderms, bony plates embedded in its skin. However, the SuperCroc's osteoderms were on a geological scale. These plates were exceptionally thick and broad, forming a dense, virtually impenetrable chainmail covering its entire back, neck, and tail. This armor was essential for two main purposes: defense against opportunistic land predators and protection against the enormous forces generated during underwater struggles with large, thrashing prey. Its armor was so robust it could likely withstand the strike of most contemporary dinosaur claws. The most defining and evolutionarily complex feature of Sarcosuchus was its massive skull, particularly its snout. The snout was remarkably long and slender, measuring nearly 1.8 meters, or 6 feet in length, comprising almost half the total size of its head. This long, narrow jaw has led scientists to conclude that its primary diet, much like the modern Indian gharial, consisted of the abundant, fast-moving aquatic life of the Cretaceous river systems. It was a perfect trap for snaring large, slippery fish. It featured over 100 sharp, curved teeth designed for gripping, holding, and tearing rather than the pure crushing of Deinosuchus. Located at the very tip of its long snout was a large, bulbous, knotty protrusion known as the terminal bulla. This feature is unique among giant crocodilians and hints at a remarkable sensory specialization. Scientists believe this bulla housed an intricate network of sensitive pressure receptors. This turned the slender snout into a high-tech instrument. It allowed Sarcosuchus to accurately detect the slightest vibrations or pressure changes in the water. This was an essential tool for hunting in the murky, sediment-filled waters, enabling it to pinpoint the location, size, and speed of fish and other aquatic creatures long before they became visible. By remaining perfectly still, completely submerged with only the tip of its snout exposed, Sarcosuchus could act as a high-sensitivity, virtually invisible detection platform, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Despite this specialization toward aquatic prey, Sarcosuchus was not strictly a fish eater. Its sheer size and power meant it could not ignore the massive biomass of dinosaurs on the bank. Its fossils are found in the same geological formations as dinosaur remains, confirming it would employ the classic ambush strategy, exploding out of the water, and using its overwhelming size and the death roll to subdue any thirsty dinosaur that wandered too close to the river's edge. Sarcosuchus Imperator was the armored perfection of the early Cretaceous waterways. It was an emperor not just of size but of lethal specialization, a giant that perfected the art of underwater stealth and precision hunting, ruling its riverine kingdom for millions of years. Number 1. Purussaurus brasiliensis. We travel millions of years forward, past the age of dinosaurs, to the Miocene epoch. We arrive in South America, where the ancestral Amazon was not yet the river we know today, but a vast system of interconnected megalakes and sprawling wetlands, a hyperdiverse, warm, and predator-rich environment. This is where we find the undisputed apex of crocodilian evolution, Purussaurus brasiliensis. Purussaurus was not simply a large crocodile. It was the embodiment of evolutionary hypertrophy, the maximum expression of size and power in the caiman lineage. It was the true and final king of the rivers, and no creature, aquatic or terrestrial, dared challenge its reign. The supremacy of Purussaurus is based on the most impressive evidence, an extraordinarily complete fossilized skull. The size and robustness of this skull tell a tale of unmatched power. The skull of Purussaurus brasiliensis measured a terrifying 1.4 meters, or 4.9 feet, in length. This is one of the largest heads of any known terrestrial or aquatic predator in the planet's history, rivaling the head size of some modern cars. Based on modern crocodile scaling models, this massive skull suggests a total body length of up to 12.5 meters, or 41 feet. This pushes the absolute size limit of the SuperCrocs. Its mass estimates are the most frightening, conservatively between 8.4 and 10.3 metric tons, with some models suggesting a theoretical maximum nearing 12 metric tons. This weight made it a true contemporary rival in mass to the largest land mammals of its era. If Deinosuchus had a powerful bite, Purussaurus had a crushing strike force. Its short, wide, massive snout, perfectly adapted from its caiman ancestors, was designed to apply unimaginable, concentrated pressure. Based on biomechanical modeling, Purussaurus was estimated to generate a bite force up to 15,500 pounds per square inch, or 69,000 newtons. While this pounds per square inch number is slightly lower than the extreme estimate for Deinosuchus, the jaw shape of Purussaurus concentrated this immense power over a shorter, more massive row of teeth. Its jaws were a biological hydraulic press designed to achieve two main goals. The first was shell destruction. Purussaurus shared its habitat with the largest known turtle, Stupendomys geographicus, whose shell alone could measure over 3.3 meters or 11 feet long. Purussaurus could shatter this formidable defense like an eggshell. The second was bone breakage. Its thick, blunt, conical teeth were ideal for crushing and pulverizing the heavy bones of South America's giant megafauna, including massive ground sloths like Megatherium and other large ungulates. It didn't just kill, it eliminated structural integrity. Purussaurus did not need to specialize to survive. It was so massive and powerful it became the definitive hypercarnivore of its ecosystem. Unlike Sarcosuchus and Deinosuchus, which shared their world with other great predators, Purussaurus had no serious rivals in the Miocene Amazonian wetlands. It was the undisputed alpha predator. Its immense size made it virtually immune to attack from any other creature. An animal of this size had astronomical nutritional requirements. Scientists estimate a fully grown Purussaurus would have needed to consume at least 40 kilograms, or 90 pounds of meat per day, just to maintain its basal metabolic rate. This means it was constantly hunting, and nothing around it was safe. Its primary strategy was simple: overwhelming size and force. It would simply ambush the prey, drag it underwater, and use its skull as a massive hammer and its jaws as a vice to immobilize and crush the victim before consumption. Purussaurus brasiliensis represents the apex of crocodilian evolution. It combined the vast length of Sarcosuchus with the crushing density of Deinosuchus, resulting in a reptile that truly stood as the supreme ruler of its era. Its existence is a final, definitive testament to the power a reptile can attain when given the time, warmth, and biomass to evolve into the ultimate aquatic war machine. They were the true, terrifying kings of the prehistoric rivers.